Greetings, greetings, everyone. Let me say peace, love, light, and honor to you all. May all be well with you all. Where to start? Where to start? Let me start with before I head into the Supreme Court ruling on New York State gun safety policies because they're not laws, but they'll try to get you with the wording to make you think it's so. With suggestive words, suggestive thinking. But let's start with the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness, right? I think him and Nancy Pelosi is two of the biggest criminals that have exposed themselves within the past 2 going on 3 years now. And folks are so blinded out of dedication for a political party that they turn a blind eye. um, no politician makes millions of dollars during what they're calling an recession off the stock market if it's not alleged insider trading. Her and her husband has been making millions. Her husband invests in the stock market. And this is why I say to people, if a person is in political office, them nor their spouse should have any stock or investments dealing with corporations or stock market. Major conflict of interest. You understand? Nor should they accept any form of donations from corporations for their political campaign or any business that they have while they are serving within the office that they were voted to be in, to represent. This cuts down on a lot of the corruption. The millions that her husband has been making on real estate investments and these things and crypto and also off of the crypto market, the NFTs and this stuff. This information goes on her through her desk, through her office on a daily. So you think she's not going home and telling her husband this information while they're telling you we're going to cut back on this, oh, we're going to cut back on that, oh, we got to cut these jobs, oh, we're in a recession, oh, we got to do this, we got to do that. Oh, don't worry, everything is all right, even though they're dumping hundreds of millions of stocks but making hundreds of billions of dollars elsewhere in other stocks that you're not paying attention to. Andrew Holness' wife, Andrew Holness and his wife runs one of the biggest real estate company in Jamaica. And here you're going to have this man tell you that he's going to pass a bill that any natural resource on your land, they can claim it. The government could claim it. Mind you, they're already building up how many different condos and stuff on the island, which again, conflict of interest. They have stolen how many lands from indigenous people on the island, but that's through the people's own ignorance of knowing that they're indigenous and the lack of willpower or the lack of will to do anything about it. You understand? Out of fear of a corrupt police force and military force. But at some time, you got to stop letting the bully punch you in your face. And you have to stand up and hit back. Right? Say something. He wants to pass, I don't know if he already wrote up the bill, because the entire House of Representatives down there is rigged. They're all family members. Father passed it down to his son passed it down to his son, and so on and so. Wife got a seat, Wife cousins got a seat. The wife uncles got a seat in parliament. And this is how they're doing it in Jamaican politics. That's the most corrupt shit ever. And then you have the ignorant folks out there. Well, that's my prime minister, and he's not doing nothing for you. Nothing for you. You think he's doing something because you're ignorant to politics. And you say, well, I've been doing politics for 30 years. But if I say some of the simplest stuff, have you authenticated your birth certificate? If you've been doing politics for 30 years, and you'd be like, what's that? Do you know what a freeholder is? Since you've been doing politics for over 30 years. Oh, what's that? Then you don't know shit. And you don't understand what's going on. Do you know what the Secretary Exchange Commission is? Oh no, what's that? Do you know what that has to do with Jamaica? Oh no, what's that? And you don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm gonna need you to sit down and shut up. You're a part of the problem. You understand? When a political figure can come and tell you that he's drafting up a bill. Now this bill cuts both ways here. Based on, and I'm just going based on off of the summary that I was given about what this bill is going to be about. If you have natural resources on your land, if you have a natural spring, I mean water run through your land, you got natural herbs that grow in your land, you got trees that supply fruit, vegetables, forestry, nature, got animals on your land. The government can come and claim all of that as theirs. This is what he's about to pass. And now we're going to go back to when he was taking pictures with Bill Gates. I need y'all to understand Bill Gates and the rest of the billionaires and trillionaires of the world are confiscating majority of the lands in the Americas. Now people say, well, Jamaica's not in the Americas. Yes, it is. Jamaica is part of America. Jamaica is America. If you know the history of the Columbus story, and if you went to the archival records to look at the old maps, it lists Puerto Rico, Haiti, Cuba, Jamaica as America. They're part of the Americas. North, South, Central. Okay? So if you've been in politics for 30 years, you will know that. That means you begging and running to go marry for $15,000 to $30,000 someone to go get a visa. You should automatically be able to get a visa or your passport or your green card with no hassle because you are an American. Now let's get back to the topic at hand. They're going to claim all natural resources on all lands. But it's a double-sided sword. But because the foreign entities, the Chinese, the Arabs, the Muslim Brotherhood that's down there now, the Israelite nations that are down there now, the Jewish people that's been there from the 1300s, the Chinese people, that's the Asian people that's been there from before the 1300s. They were your very first colonizers, the Chinese, well, Asians, right? These people know what's coming. And this bill is to be worked out in their favor because you, the indigenous person of the land, the Arawak, who are calling yourself African and Maroons and African descendant and all this bullshit, because you call yourself everything in the world, you gave up eminent domain to all these foreign people, meaning they could claim the land. And because you are ignorant in knowledge, don't have the knowledge, and when it's being shared and given to you, you get offended because it's disrespecting a politician that you idolize and worship. I idolize and worship no man nor woman. You understand? You're a sheep when you do that. Not a wolf, not a lion. You're a sheep. You're a follower. You don't think for yourself. You don't take in and investigate all information. You're biased. And that biasness has dug you a grave and your children's children going on forward into the future, their graves. And it's put them on the chopping block for economical extinction, for physical extinction, biological extinction, spiritual extinction. Your ignorance, your biasness has done this. I care not for politics. I care not for a Laborite or a PNP. I care not for a Democrat or a Republican or the independent party politicians. I care not. I care about universal law, natural law, what's right and what's wrong. Respect me, I respect you. Do no harm to me, I do no harm to you. Leave me and my property alone, I leave you and your property alone. If I am in distress or you're in distress, I should be a brother and come and help you if I see that you are in distress. If I am in distress, you should be a brother and come and help me if you see that I'm in distress. Sometimes one need not to ask. These are the things I care about. Need people to understand this bill, if it's not passed yet, is going to cut two ways. You must understand who you are to the land to have any form of claim. Okay? So they're giving you, it's not saying it, but they're giving you a heads up that you can go claim the land that you are on if you have natural resources on it. You could claim the land, period. You always could have claimed the land. You understand? Now, a lot of people want to go out there individually, or this group, or that group, and that group, or this group claimed this, and that group claimed that, and this group claimed the entire world. Well, you can't do that. Fact being, why you can't do that and claim the whole enchilada for this one little group right here is because there's going to be others that are going to wake up and say, F you. We've all, our ancestors all has been here. So you can't just claim this whole shit. So what should be getting done is, if you even get a signature of 50,000 people to 100,000, heck, even if it's 10,000, to say, hey, we've always been on this land, this is our land, and we are still here. We are claiming the entire archipelago, all 28 islands, for the indigenous people of the land and those who identify as indigenous people of the land. We are claiming this, not just for my group here or what is perceived to be for my group here, or claim it and say, well, I'm claiming all of this, then I will then say, well, you all can share in it. No, because you want to cut out and minimize, because the thing with Negroes, after a while, we start backfighting with each other. So you want to try to limit that and cut out and minimize that by saying, hey, let's gather all these signatures. Because rightfully, by law, when you are indigenous, when you are the original man and woman of that land, you are outside of the jurisdiction of anything that is considered to be or that is a corporation, or a corporation acting under the guise of what is perceived to be a country or governing body for supposedly we the people. As what is as a Carib American, let's say that, or what is people will say West Indian, but you see we minimize what is and West Indian, or what is the West. The West is the entire Americas in general, including what is called Canada and Mexico, and going all the way up into half of Antarctica. That back down to the Polynesian Islands, going back to off some islands off the archipelago of Portugal. All of that is the Americas. We are the original inhabitants of all that. We are the Western Hemisphere Indians, which is called West Indians. You can't dress up as an Indian one day out the year during Labor Day and then go the next day and saying that you're African descent. That is asinine and batshit mental retardation. What are you? Pretty soon they're going to want to rename the West Indian Day Parade to the African Day Parade. But once you claim your indigenous status, right? Because majority of what is called the Caribbean were Arawakan people, Lokono, Kairi, Kalinago, these things, which still fall right back underneath the Arawak, Ahuak, Ana Ahuak, Aruan, Maripori banner. So many different names they gave us, but it still mean Arawak, not Taino. There is no such thing as a Taino of the Americas. The Tainos are Cambrians from Cambria over in Europe. And they are identity thieves even throughout history, known as identity thieves over there, because they're not even the original Cambrians. Understand? And they are now here in the Americas claiming a lot of the Caribbean islands and causing confusion because they're backed by George Soros's money. So they have the money and the resources to put out hundreds and thousands of websites with false information. And you have folks like Richard Curry, Alex Minot, Malkia Minot, that's also pushing some of this false information. And they know it is. They know it is. When Alex got his land taken off the tax rolls, okay, he don't pay taxes for a piece of his family land. It didn't get taken off because he put that he's Taino. He didn't put that he's Taino on the paperwork. You understand? The Taino organization is nothing but a philanthropical creation by philanthropists. Soros, Bill Gates, these men, and men before them. It's nothing but an organization created by them, just like Black Lives Matter, for an agenda purpose. But anyway, once you are within your Arawakan, Lokono Kairi status, now you are outside of the jurisdiction of what is called the Jamaica Corporation or the Dominica Corporation, right? Or the Puerto Rican corporation because those are all businesses. Those have nothing to do with the land, the country. They're all businesses. Jamaica is literally King's House. That's what Jamaica is. You call it King's House, but in the American documentations, in the State and Border Patrol documents, and when you speak to State and Border Patrol, it'll tell you that Jamaica, the address for Jamaica is, and they give you the King's House address. The land, the 28 islands, is called Jamaica or Zamaka. That has nothing to do with the corporation. So once you're underneath that jurisdiction of Zamaka or Jamaica, the Jamaica Corporation, which is owned by the English Queen and her grandsons and son. See, when they come to to Zamaka, you worship them and you praise them. That is mental batshit retardation to worship and praise the set of people that slaughtered your ancestors trying to steal the land and never got the land. So they created a corporation, and throughout the years, because they created this corporation, they had people that look like you and me teach you that the corporation was the land, and it never was. So here you are growing up talking about Jamaica, 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 and you're giving more power to the corporation. So now the corporation starts creating birth certificates and putting their name on it and titling you of what they want you to be titled as, and you're giving up your birthright. Then they open up the borders and inviting the colonizers, the Chinese, the Arabs, the Israelis, and all these people that don't freaking like you, and start giving them your land because you're saying, well, that's the government. They could do that. No, they can't do that. They can only do that with your consent or with your silence. That's why they created a political system to get you to vote. Because now you're put underneath the jurisdiction, the TRN and all that is to put you underneath the jurisdiction of the corporation. So the corporation is acting as if it is you, as acting in your, supposedly in your interest, but it's really in the interest of the crown. So you've been tricked into giving up your land, your identity, everything. Once you put yourself back in your proper status, and they cannot stop you from doing that. They can try to delay you. But when you are in numbers, they can't delay shit. You understand? Once you do that, you could go and you could claim up all your lands. Your grandfather had this land. You came and saw your grandfather with this land. He came and saw his father with that land, and his father came and saw his father with that land. You claim that shit. I have a sister that lives right across the street from me. I believe she's from St. Vincent. The government stole her family land and opened up a Navy base, a naval base on there. So pay attention, people. This is what's coming for you. It's already happening. Can't have a prime minister that's in real estate. His wife is in real estate. And it's telling you that he's going to come take your lands because he knows that you're too ignorant to go claim the shit yourself. You don't know nothing about that. Wake up. Everything is business. It's about corporations and the living man. Corporation is always the fictitious entity. The living man is always the most high creation, that universal creation being, that natural being. That's why folks who own mega corporations try to get rid of everything that is organic and bring in everything that is inorganic. Because a corporation cannot own or hold on to anything that is natural. And a corporation cannot tell a person what to do, a natural person what to do. Because a corporation is not a real entity. It's not living. It's not natural. It's not alive. It's not a man nor a woman. Say that to say this. Now this is leading me into the New York State Supreme Court ruling on the New York State gun laws, where in every state, well, let me not say every state, in the tri-state area, New York, Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, they make it hard for you to get a gun permit or what they call a gun license. And the only folks that they award gun permits and license to are pretty much state workers, and you have to be a particular type of state worker also, and or people who has connections with someone that a family member that's either a firefighter or a police officer, or you have to be one of the donors to their departments and these things, or be someone that is connected. But if you are the average everyday person, they turn you down all the time. Now, I want to read a little small passage of the Supreme Court thing, right? Let me see. On page 2, uh, proper cause requirement violates the 14th Amendment by preventing law-abiding citizens with ordinary self-defense needs from exercising their Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms in public for self-defense. Now, New York also um, have in their supposed gun policies that one can have a firearm within the household or on their private property. So if you have an automobile, which you call a car, but a car is a business word, but that's something else for another time. And bear with me because I'm trying to break it down simplest so that you can understand, right? House, car, your body is your private property. Because you, the soul, inhabits that body, that natural body. This is why they try to pump you of stuff that is inorganic. There's a Supreme Court ruling on that too, with folks that did certain transfusions and these things with inorganic blood cells and all this type of stuff. And yeah, your Supreme Court made a ruling on that you are also owned by the corporations. And Supreme Court rulings, case law rulings, actually become law. This is how laws are also made, through a court ruling. This is how laws are made. They become law. And a Supreme Court ruling is supposed to be followed through by all states. Okay? So all of these is your private property, your house, your car, your body. The Second Amendment doesn't say that you need a license or a permit for the right to self-defense or the right to bear arms. It doesn't say that. Now, this is where the corporation gets involved and try to trick you and twist the words. Now, you must pay attention to the words that are said in here when it says citizens. Okay? What kind of citizen are you? Citizens fall under jurisdiction of the corporation. So because corporations makes policies, not laws, policies. Municipalities is a branch of the corporation. Certain townships are a branch of the corporation. When you see incorporated, the city of incorporated, and it ends with incorporated on there, it means it's a corporation. They're not giving you laws, they're giving you policies for their employees and for subjects of the corporation. So a citizen is a subject under the jurisdiction of the corporation. This is why New York State and many other states was violating people's constitutional rights to bear arms, or natural rights to bear arms. And they'll pull you over and they see you with a firearm. Mind you, didn't commit any murder. The gun is clean. It didn't kill anyone. There's no bodies on it. Okay? But they pull you over and they see it because they say, oh, you don't have a permit. You don't have a license. They take it away from you. And in New York, they give you the amount of time in jail in prison that you have, the amount of 3 years for each bullet that's within the gun, and 3 years for each bullet that's missing from the gun in New York. This is what they were doing. That was against the law if you are outside of the jurisdiction of the corporation. So you sit here, people think being a citizen is a good thing. It's not. If you stand in your original indigenous capacity, this is why over the years they taught you so many things in their school system. You were a slave from that, your ancestors came from the Atlantic slave trade, you're Africans, you're this, you're black, you're African American. None of that fall underneath your rightful indigenous title. You understand? They have all their agents, these so-called black master teachers and civil rights leaders that misled you for years. And you identify as corporate titles, black corporate title, African American corporate title. Those are corporate titles. Put you underneath jurisdiction of the corporation. So because you're locked into jurisdiction of the corporation now could do with you whatever the corporation wants. But if you go back to your indigenous status as the original Americans of this Western hemisphere, what they call Indian, Malcolm X said to you, you are Aborigine, but you don't want to call yourself or like to call yourself Aborigine. You started getting used to calling yourself nigger and black and African American. That has nothing to do with your natural born status. You understand? So here it says a citizen has the right to keep and bear arms. But us, as Negroes of the Americas, we're not supposed to be citizens of the corporation. We are original Americans. We are the descendants of the original Americans. We're outside of the jurisdiction of the corporation, meaning corporate policies don't go for us whatsoever. Now, if you read through the New York gun laws, it's more of a safety thing, safety policy. So they've been locking people up for years, even the citizens, for safety policy violations. But if a man and a woman goes to a gun range and they learn how to shoot and they get that certificate, that paperwork saying that they are now certified to use a firearm, they have the experience. They shouldn't have to go down to the police department to register for a permit or to register with the police department that they are getting or want a firearm. That's just for the police wanting to know who you are. And I want y'all to pay attention, because those pull over videos of cops pulling over young men and women and killing them for having a firearm that's licensed and registered is to show you that they knew beforehand, to show that these killings are premeditated murder. You understand? Because you have to go register with the police department. Once they pull up your license or your license plates, it comes up and shows that you are a licensed firearm carrier. So when they go ahead and shoot you and say, "Oh, I didn't know he had a gun," and he ain't had no license for. They knew you had a license for it because it shows up. You understand? But the Second Amendment does not say that you need a license. It's saying that you have the right to bear arms. You know why? You know why it was wrong when New York City, New York State, and all the other states was turning people down for even having a permit or a license, to say that they don't have sufficient reason? Because it is your natural born right to naturally defend yourself and have to naturally defend yourself. It is a natural born right. It is mental retardation to sit there and have a man put his knee in your neck, choke you out, run up to you and punch you in your face, doesn't matter who he is. And your natural instinct is not to swing back. Your natural instinct is to curl up and take the hits. That is against nature. Every animal, predator or prey, when a prey is even being hunted and knows that that predator is on him, he turns around and then attempts to fight, to defend, for self-preservation of life. So when a man that's representing the corporation. Because this is where a lot of people also go wrong. You could go off of after that man himself, because that man took an oath to protect the Second Amendment. All officers, and what an officer is your elected officials. That is an officer. An officer is your elected officials. Your president, your mayor, your senator, your congressman or woman, your councilman, your principal, even down to even your school principal, head of the postal union, the postmaster general. Those are all officers. Deputies are the men and women in uniform, or those are also individual businessmen and women who have unionized and contracted with the municipality, because each policy officer, police officer, has an EIN number to do business. You understand? I broke that down in a previous video that I did. So it is a natural born right to have the want and need for self-preservation of life, to defend yourself. You shouldn't have to go to another man and explain to him why you want this piece of paperwork, even though the law says and shows that you don't need that paperwork. They should just leave you the F alone if you're not committing any acts of violence towards anyone. I personally think a person should have a certificate to say that they are a licensed firearm carrier, and people without any form of mental health. I don't think people with mental disability or people that suffers from depression should have that. That's just my opinion. You understand? But naturally, for the sane man and woman, it's your right. Now, I pointed out in the last video, pay attention to what the New Jersey governor did. He created a bill and signed it into law that every police officer in the state of New Jersey is supposed to have a business license. You know why? Because they have an EIN number and they have a bond number, an insurance company that covers damages that they cause upon others or others' property. And they file taxes for that business of a collection agent. And that's what they are. They're collection agents. And now they're about to lose their jobs because New York City just put up their traffic cameras to run 24 hours a day. That's CCTV. That means they're watching you, they're tracking you, they're tracking your voice pattern, they're tracking your facial recognition, they're doing all of that. All of that is against the Constitution. All of that is unlawful. All of that is illegal. So when that camera snaps your license plate, that's also illegal, if you're outside of the jurisdiction of the corporation. Definitely illegal. Understand, people, what's been going on, what is going on, what these people are showing you. So now you see New York State and New York City officials are rewriting a lot of stuff now. Oh, well, Times Square is a gun-free zone. They can't, none of that shit means nothing. They can't tell you that. The Second Amendment gives you the right to bear arms. It doesn't say you have the right to bear arms only in these areas, but except for that. You see all these false flag gun shootings that they've been doing, and you must understand what false flag is. Not everything you see on the mainstream media is real. And then you must understand the devil that you're working with, because the devil that you're working with will go out and hire someone to shoot up places because they're trying to pass a gun bill to restrict you from having the right to bear arms. Now they passed the bill, I think, in Congress, that fully automatic assault rifles should be banned and illegal. But there hasn't been in the books a fully automatic assault rifle in America for years. Everything has been semi-automatic. So if you see someone with a fully automatic, is either that person knows how to alter a gun, their self, or they got it straight from the source, from the military, because the military is the only source that has fully automatic rifles, assault rifles. Semi-automatic is when you literally have to keep pressing the trigger. Pow, 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 pow. Fully automatic is and it just goes one squeeze. Understand? Stop letting these people trick you. Stop letting them trick you. If they want to take away your rights, they will orchestrate a catastrophe to get you to be fearful so that you could vote to take away your rights yourself. And this is how they get you to contract with them, because they're businesses. So now they need you to contract with them. They need you to vote. They need you to participate in the elections, right? When an officer pulls you over, he starts saying, using words like, you understand? Because that's a contractual word. He needs you to say that you understand, because he knows that when he pulls you over, he's contracting in business with you. So he needs you to talk to him, because now you're conversing in business. You're no longer talking as a regular man to another man. You're talking in legalese terms, which you don't get, but he gets it. Which, right, sign this. You don't have to sign that ticket, because that ticket is him as a man making a complaint on you, has nothing to do with law. He's making a complaint on you, and he's suing you for some form of policy infraction for a company that you don't work for, but he does. Has nothing to do with law, because the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, said that you have all rights to be secured in your persons and your papers. In their own laws, it tells you you don't have to show ID, and you have the right to remain silent. The police tell you don't speak to the police, because when you open your mouth, you're contracting with them. Now it's business, and you must know exactly what to say. This is why they turn to intimidation tactics, bullying tactics, get physical, kidnap you, lock you in the jail cell for 48 to 72 hours, let you out, because it's intimidation tactics, it's extortion to get money out of your pocket for you to contract with them. Next time they come around, you remember that bad experience and you become fearful. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to say. So you just submit. And now that officer, he gets paperwork because they get paid off of commission of their overtime and the amount of tickets and arrests that they make. They each took an oath to protect and defend the Constitution against threats, foreign and domestic. They are a domestic threat. They're domestic tyrants. I'm not saying it's everyone, but those rotten apples out there that are extorting people and doing these things, those are domestic tyrants. You understand? Because they took an oath to the Constitution, that is the only law. The Constitution, the Bill of Rights. Those are the only laws, the natural law, common law, is what they're supposed to be protecting. And when you read the Bill of Rights and you read the amendments, you'll see that what they're enforcing has nothing to do with that. They've been doing criminal activities in your face for years. And the answer has been right there in front of your face. For these officers that are graduating the police academy right now, when you graduated and you put that hand up and you put that other hand on the Bible, for some of y'all they won't let you put your hand on the Bible no more. And you take that oath, and that oath, it says that you swear to protect and defend the Constitution. Well, that's the law. That's the only thing that you're supposed to defend and protecting. Everything else is corporate policies. But because you have the greed of men and women, of mankind or men, Oh, word, if I get this amount of arrests by the end of the month or within this week, I get so and so extra in my pay. And then boom, they go out there and they violate your sons and your daughters, even kill them. Because a dead body is worth more alive going through the system. No, a body is worth more dead than alive going through the system. System, you get free labor off of you. But that body, when they done going through their morgue, their autopsies, that's money stacking up. When they done and they steal a kidney or a lung here and there out of your deceased loved one, because you're not cutting back open the body to check if all the organs is there. Hmm? Taking the blood, these things for the DNA banks and databases, the metadata collectors, which is why Facebook changed its name to Meta, because they sell metadata to third and fourth party companies. Metadata is your personal information. Every time you made a private message through Facebook Messenger, every time you posted a post on your Facebook page, all that information, all of those, a video, send little freaky pics to your boyfriend or your girlfriend through Facebook Messenger. All of that, they have all of that. They sell all that. All of that gets sold. That's what it's called, meta. And meta is data, a mass amount of data. Or what they say, data. Like the robot from Star Trek, where he held a lot of information. Yeah. Wake up, people. You've been identifying as all these wrong things all these years, and it has not been working for you. And what you've been given is the foreigners ample amount of time to come and steal your identity. I see them calling Asian people now who are pink, pale skin, colored people. Spaniards that look Caucasian, colored people. And a lot of folks ain't putting two and two together. Why they call them colored people? In order for them to be colored, that means they have to have Negro blood in them throughout their ancestry. You guys are not getting it. So they're using that 1%, that 2% blood to come now and claim the lands. Wake